Okay, so, oh, come on. So this is India over here, and this is the Indian Ocean, and this is Asia up here. And as I told you yesterday, a monsoon is what the best definition is a seasonally reversing wind. But you hear about monsoon rains mostly, and you see pictures of it's usually people in India wading through the water next to their houses with these things over their heads. Um, Let me just show you some pictures of people in India wading in the water. India monsoon rains. I'm sure if I do an image search, we'll see pictures of people wading in water. Yes, so here they are during the monsoons. And I, I don't know if it always floods like this, but it's not that unusual to have extreme flooding just seasonally once a year in India. And they, let me look up Cherrapunji, India. For a long time, Cherrapunji, India had the record for the rainiest place in the world. Here's a sign. The wettest place on the planet Earth, Cherrapunji. Average annual rainfall, this is in millimeters. So it says 12,063 millimeters. Does anybody know how many millimeters there are in a meter? Centimeters, there are 100 centimeters in a meter. 1,000. So this would be 12 meters of rain annually. And a meter is a little bit more than a yard. And a yard is 3 feet. So if 12 meters would be more than 36 feet of rain annually. And if we compare that to Vermont annual
Mr.
rainfall.
Stapleton,
Ah, yes, Tommy.
you're muted.
Oh, thank you, Tommy. Tommy's not. So I disconnected my camera. Oh, I'm just plain old muted. Thanks, Tommy. When I disconnect my camera, it mutes me, and then when I reconnect it, I guess I need to hit connect. So thanks for pointing that out.
All right.
What was oh yeah, I was going to go over the Vermont annual rainfall. So Tommy, I was just saying that the average annual rainfall in Cherrapunji, India is about 12 meters, which is over 36 feet, which if you convert that to inches, multiply 36 times 12. And what do you think it is in Vermont? Let me do that calculation first, 36 times 12. Rainfall is 432. A desert, I don't know if you remember me telling you this, a desert is someplace that gets less than 10 inches of rain every year. So it's definitely not a desert in Cherrapunji.
I'm going to guess Vermont has 32 inches.
That's in the ballpark. I'd say, if I had to guess more or less, I'd say a little more. But I don't know. And it's changing. Let me go to all. 43 inches of rain on average per year. With climate change, things can be different. The U.S. average is 38, so we get a little more than average. 86 inches of snow. So if you melted that snow down, that accounts for some of this. They're saying rain, but that's total precipitation. That's interesting that the U.S. average is 28 inches of snow, because there are a lot of places that don't get any snow at all. So back to the warm-up. What was my point in all this? Oh yes, to talk about India and how rainy it is. And it's not rainy all the year. It's just rainy sometimes during the year. And they get these torrential rains that cause floods. And then they have a dry season too. And the point of yesterday's warm-up was that water, here's some water, has a higher specific heat than sand. Does anybody remember what that means? There are two ways to really describe water having a high specific heat. So the fact that it has a high specific heat means what? So one way, you fill in the blank here. because water has a high specific heat, that causes it to change temperature quickly or slowly. What do you think? Quickly or slowly? Slowly. Water, it's hard to change the temperature of water. A long time ago, people used to, they used to do two things, and I think one was a lot better. Some people would fill up a water bladder, these little rubber things, and they'd take them to bed with them and put the water thing in bed with hot water, and then that would keep them warm during the night. Some places, I think people took rocks from the fire, and then they kind of put those rocks in bed with them. Now, assuming that the rocks and the water were the same temperature, which one would last longer, keep you warm longer? Which one changes temperature more slowly? The water. So water would keep you, if you had equal masses of water and rock and they were the same temperature, the water would keep you warm longer. So one way to say that is, I can think of three ways to explain this. Water changes temperature more slowly. That's probably the best one. Another way is, if you're going to heat up water or cool down water, you have to add more energy to increase water's temperature. Or you have to take out more energy to decrease water's temperature compared to other things. And then another way to say it is water can store more energy than other things too. So with that in mind, during which season will India's monsoons cause wet weather? So I'm going to draw on the board here where this picture is. Hopefully this works. Is this a good pen? Oh, it's a nice pen. So during the summer, hold on. Let's let that was the dinkiest little cart to make that much noise I've ever seen. So in the summer, everything's going to heat up. What's going to heat up faster? The water or the land? What's that? The land. The water has a higher specific heat, so it takes more energy to warm the water up. It's going to warm up more slowly. So the land's going to warm up faster. And the land's going to be hot, relatively speaking, and the water is going to be cool. So think of the air above the land and the air above the water. We've got some hot air, we've got some cool air. We could draw a side view picture of this, but I just want you to tell me which air is heavier, the hot air or the cool air? Everybody should know this. Don't avert your gaze. Like, either answer or answer in your head, but think about it. The heavier stuff should be cool air. Cool air is heavier, it's more dense, it sinks. So pressure-wise, where the hot air is, that's going to be really light air. So the air above your head, if you live here, is really light, not very heavy. So what kind of pressure is that going to be? Based on the weight of the air, it's light air. Is it going to make high pressure or low pressure? Low pressure. So this continent during the summer is going to have low pressure, and over the water, where it's cooler, the air is heavier, this is high pressure. And winds go which way? From low to high or high to low? High to low. So this is what we're going to have during mostly the late summer, which is when everything really heats up. And that's when the monsoons occur. And they occur for a couple of reasons. One is we're getting water coming off this ocean, and when it hits land, it's got a lot of water that's evaporated. But also, what exists right through here? Something we've talked about before. This continental plate and this continental plate are doing what? Are they converging or diverging? Converging. This is the Himalayas. So these are really, really tall mountains. So not only is the water coming in off the ocean and hitting land and having to go up a little bit, but it's rising and rising and rising and rising and rising to get over the Himalayas, the tallest mountains in the world. So all those things together give you really, really, really strong rain. But then in the winter, everything's going to cool down. And what changes temperature faster, land or water? Land changes temperature, so it heats up faster, it cools down faster. So in the winter, this becomes really cold, And relatively speaking, this water out here is warm, and cold air is heavy, so it's going to create high pressure. Warm air is light. It's going to create low pressure out in the ocean. So then the winds blow this way. And really, if they're coming over the Himalayas like this, we've got a rain shadow here now, because it has to rise up this side of the mountains and sink over there. One of the place that I know of that has the most extreme temperature changes, I could have this wrong, but it's Siberia. And Siberia is, does anybody know where Siberia is? It's a place where you get sent if you're bad, or if you're sent away to work on some sort of, I don't know, maybe that's just a cliche, but I hear about people being sent to Siberia to go to a work camp. Any guesses? Where is Siberia?
Somewhere around Russia.
Yeah, somewhere in Russia. I guess I could just do Siberia and then click on maps. And it's, all right, so where's Siberia? I guess somewhere around here? Doesn't seem very specific. Where is Siberia? It looks like it's a big region, according to this. Siberia is up there. All right. So back to the map. So it's up in this part of Russia. So it's pretty far north, but it's also fairly central in Asia. And Asia is such a big continent that during the summer this heats up a lot. You can have temperatures in Siberia going to 100 degrees Fahrenheit, hotter than we get here usually. But in the winter, because it's land and it's so big, it can cool down. They can have temperatures down to negative 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Siberia temperature range. And Siberia would be kind of the center of where the cold air is coming out in the winter and where the warm air is going to in the summer. Here it says average temperature is 23 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know. I don't want to waste your time too much, but I swear I looked up the greatest temperature variation one time and it was in Siberia. All right, back to this. Check-in regarding project. So I'm just, Tommy and, it's too bad Soli's not here because she needed to see this. I think most people have already shared this with me, so I'm not going to get in and look at this. But don't forget that your one big assignment is the climate map project, and that's due on Tuesday. Tommy, I won't see you before then, so if for some reason you haven't turned it in, you can turn it in on Tuesday. But if you need a lot of help with it, we won't have much time to work on it. Hey, Reagan. And going back to here. What to do if you don't have the paper template? I think everybody has that right now. The only person I know of who doesn't have the sheet with all the lines on it isn't here. All right, so in here we're just going to do a quiz and a retake if anybody wants to retake the quiz from yesterday. And Tommy, you'll be taking this quiz on Tuesday. So be ready to take the climate mapping quiz.